Hey everyone, welcome back here to my channel where I play Planet Zoo. My name is Nissa and today we're gonna take a look at the top of our mountain here in Future Life project here in Asia. At the top of our mountain, of course, we're gonna have a snow area that will be inhabited by the Sichuan Takin, Tibetan Antelope, also known as Chiru, and lastly the moose. First of all, I went back and made the mountain a bit bigger since both the moose and the Sichuan Takin are very big animals and they need a lot of space to get around. So therefore I wanted their habitat to be bigger, so the tip of the mountain have to be bigger. Because of this I also needed to redo all of the barriers, and that took a bit of time because I have habitats on top of each other. So while I'm doing that, why don't I just start by telling you a bit about the Sichuan Takin. The Sichuan Takin is just one of a big family known as the goat antelopes. All the species in this family are made for living in high elevation mountains and have specific features which help them survive both in these tough biomes but also in mountain parts where they will need to climb a lot. More specifically, the Sichuan Takin has short legs and split hoofs which help them have more balance on these rocky mountains, and furthermore their coats thickens during the winter so they can keep warm during the colder months of the year. Their skin produces an oily substance which waterproof their hair, and their large nasal passages allows incoming air to warm up before it reaches the lungs, thereby conserving body heat. In the summer months, groups up to 300 individuals inhabit these mountain pods, but during the winter when food is scarce, they will go down to the forest valleys nearby and live in smaller groups for about 20 to 30 individuals. The older bulls normally live more alone, but during the late summer where they will mate, they of course find the female groups and try to get some offspring that way. Whereafter the female will give birth to a single calf after 7 to 8 months. The Sichuan Takin live in forest, scrublands and grasslands in China and eastern Himalaya mountains. From elevation from 4,000 to 12,000 feet, the Takin lives off bamboo much like their giant panda neighbors, but they also live off other foliage that could be bark, flowers and various trees, both the stump and the leaves. To reach the leaf on the top of these trees, they actually will stand on their hind legs and put their forelegs up against the tree trunk so they can reach these leaves. Much more like the normal cow we know for dairy farms, they have 4 stomachs to help them get all of the nutrition out of these foliage. When I was done with the mountain and the barriers, then of course I needed to go in here and redo the ride here, and I will probably need to do that again when it comes to the next habitats, but I just needed now to go in and test it and make sure that I don't go through any rocks or mountains or something. I did accidentally do that last time. Because of their size, the Sichuan Takin actually only have a few natural predators. That would include bears and wolves, but besides that, they really don't have that many. Their primary problems are more the habitat loss, illegal hunting and human disturbance. Sichuan Takin are considered a national treasure in China and are given protection similar to giant pandas, but enforcement outside designated areas is challenging. At this point, Sichuan Takin are listed as vulnerable and they are protected by the Chinese law. Besides that, China have created 2 reserves specially for them, where the Chinese government can do their very best to take care of them. It was actually quite difficult to find specific information about the Sichuan Takin, but luckily Los Angeles Zoo have a very nice page about it and it will be listed in the description below. At this point of the build I ran into a bit of trouble since most of our animals here didn't have enough space to move around. Here I picked my male moose here and I could see that he could rarely move anywhere, so I need to go in and make a path around here for the animals so they could get around, of course. I worked a lot around that, but when it was done they can go all around, I promise you, but you will see me go in and redo this a lot. Also because as you can see here, a few times I actually go through down to the pathway and we don't want that. Then I was inspired. I saw a reaction video here on YouTube the other day from Lord of the Rings, and I was inspired by the Shire where the hobbits lives, and I didn't want to make an exact Shire with these rounded areas because I thought that the area up here would be too rough and it wouldn't fit in. But this idea about the house built into the mountain, or a hill as it is with the Shires, and then cover it with grass so it's completely submerged by the hill or mountain as it is here. But sorry, I just wanted to tell you my inspiration for this. But let me tell you a little bit about the Tibetan antelope, also known as Chiru. And here my information comes from animalia.bio, and of course link is in the description. The Chiru is a very rare bovine at this point, and it does look like something that belongs on the African savanna, but they are actually native to the Tibetan plateau. They have this pale coat to reddish brown coat, though the males are much darker than the females, and they have these dark drawings on their face and their legs. Their fur is very different from all of the antelopes and gazelles we have in Africa, where here it is much more like wool, which are very thick and kind of greasy, which can both hold out the water but also the cold. When talking about the Chiru, it doesn't seem like there are one specific way all of them does things. All from their group size to the habitat to everything they are not agreeing on. You can find groups up in the hundreds, but the more likely is you will find a group around 20 individuals. The females migrate up to 300 kilometers, that would be 190 miles every single year, to reach their calving grounds in the summer, where they usually will give birth to a single calf. After that they move away from their calving grounds to find food and water and what else they need. During the late autumn or winter they will rejoin the males and they will again go around with their normal grazing behavior. Though they are small, they can actually dig a fair amount through the snow to find their food, and they are also able to climb loose rocks and bigger rocks for quite some time before being able to find any food. Now, to tell you about the threats, I decided to read up here since it's a lot of numbers and I want to remember it correctly. So I read it up directly from the website. In the 1980s and 1990s, Tibetan antelopes had become endangered due to massive illegal poaching. They are hunted for their extremely soft, light and warm underfur. Such demands resulted in massive illegal poaching in the second half of the 20th century. In consequence, the population of the species has suffered a severe decline from nearly 1 million estimated at the turn of the 20th century to less than 75,000 in 1990s. Other major threats include competition with livestock, expansion of agriculture, road building, illegal hunting, and fencing of pastures on the Tibetan plateau. And that's the last part I read up, just so you know the difference. This is my words. But luckily a lot of good things have happened since that. And today, according to IUCN Riddlers, there are about 100 to 150,000 mature individuals, and now they are only listed as near threatened, and the numbers are still increasing, which is of course very good, but they could still use some more help. Now, when it comes to our terrain here, I want our animals to still be able to grass a bit and get their natural foliage and learn how they are supposed to eat in the wild. So we needed some grass in here, but we still needed to give them this rocky area, this stone area, this dirt area of course, and then get them used to all of the snow, because they will meet that in the wild. Now, of course, we need to have some cooling systems in here, since we are still in a tropical area in Asia. So we need to make sure that they don't get too hot in here. So we place a few of these inside of the mountain, and then a few in their house, and then one at their barrier entrance. Then it's time for all of the fun stuff here, and we make sure to make everyone happy to the best of our abilities anyway. They needed some scratching trees. Again, they will need to eat bark when they get out to the wild, and they will also need to know that some things you can eat underground and something you can't. So we give them these watermelons to kind of introduce them to this eating of the ground, and we also give them these hanging feeders to make them learn that they should also pick food up down from trees and other kinds of foliage. Then we put in some barrels here, and of course we needed some line. We have wires in them so they don't fall down to the next habitat. We need to make sure that the habitat that we give the food to actually eat it, so therefore it's important here that we get them that security. Now, to talk a bit about the moose, we are using again the same website, animalia.bio, and again link will be in the description. Now, the moose is of course an animal we have talked about a few times here on my channel, and maybe because it lives so many different places. Mainly they have an entire line across the world where they live. It's not the middle part of the world, they're placed more up north, not too much north, but basically just around where I live. No, they aren't in Denmark, sadly, but we can just visit our friends in Norway and Sweden, and they are right there. They are beautiful, majestic creatures that doesn't actually stop at the borders of a country, and a few times actually they have swum from Norway to Skagen, which is the most north part of Denmark we have, and they just swim across the open sea to get over here. It happens a few times, but they don't actually live here. Now there are a lot of subspecies of moose, and of course the one we would have here in Future Life Asia would be the Asian one. Now the moose isn't exactly a endangered animals, actually they are listed as least concern at this point, but here at Future Life Asia they can help us teach a lot of our other animals in this habitat basically about things in the wild, though the moose are actually a creature that you would be able to bring in directly from the wild, and they would kind of learn behavior from the moose, such as what do we eat, how do we eat from trees, how do we climb around, how do we move on these big rocks. They would be able to teach the other animals. They are also the largest deer in the world and thereby have a magnificent giant male moose, which can be very dangerous. Thereby also teach the especially younger individuals of our Chiru and Takins respect for a bigger animals, so they don't come from a habitat where they just could do anything they wanted to. Here they would have to respect a bigger animal, which would give them a healthy attitude towards bigger animals when they go to the wild when they are old enough. A lot of the natural behaviors a moose have is actually across multiple of bovines also, and therefore again they can teach so much for younger individuals here. Now I think it's time for our cinematics, and let's just start with a ride here so you can get a feel of what our guest can see. Okay guys, we are at the end now, and while the snow's melting here, I will just tell you that I have an Instagram, if you don't know, where I put up a little bit of maybe spoilers, maybe preview of what I'm doing next week. This picture would actually already be up now, and tomorrow when I start the next week's mod reviews, I will put up a teaser of that as well. So if you feel like following me there, you are welcome to it. It's on the screen now, and it's also in the bottom of the description. Nisse Pedersen, one word. But you know the drill guys, like, subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you know the next time I upload a video. I really hope to see you again, either in the comments below or in the next video. Bye guys!